Hi, folks. I hope you guys are feeling good and confident about remote learning. Welcome to week 4. We've already been doing this for 4 weeks now, or 3 weeks, starting on our 4th week. So hopefully you're getting into the swing of things. If you're still struggling, please make sure to reach out. I'm always available through email, so please make sure you let me know if you're having a hard time maybe organizing or things like that. But I want to have you guys or give you guys a walkthrough of the assignments for this week. We have just a couple assignments for this week, nothing too crazy long or anything. So I'm going to walk you guys through what they look like in Google Classroom, how to complete them, and then how to turn those guys in. So thinking back to last week, just to give us some context, we were looking at the introduction to the Middle East. So specifically, what are the religions that spring up in the Middle East? What are their similarities and differences? And we also took a look at the birth of the country or state of Israel for the Jewish people after the Holocaust and World War II. So last week, we were kind of setting the stage for the conflicts and current events that we are currently hearing about all the time in the news about the Middle East. So last week, as you saw, those religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, have quite a bit of similarity, right? They all have the same holy land, they all believe in one God. And when we see the creation of Israel, this is going to lead to quite a bit of conflict. So, our focus for this week is really going to be what did the conflict or what does that conflict center around? So, we're going to look at the Arab Israeli conflict that has been going on since the creation of Israel and its impact on the people in that area. And we are going to be looking at two events and key players in the Middle East that you probably or may be familiar with currently. So we're going to be talking about some current events, some things that are still happening and still prevalent and relevant to our lives in the Middle East. Okay, so I'm going to have us, just like I always do, walk through Google Classroom just to show you the assignments for this week. So you'll notice that the first thing that I've done, some of you will have this, some of you won't. If you don't see that, just don't worry about it for now. So the Google Meet link should be the first thing that you see on your stream. I want to point out that I have changed this just based on feedback. Some of you feel like it's kind of hard to get through the form, to get the link. There was so many steps to get through that process. So I have just linked in the morning session and the afternoon session here for you. Please take advantage of this or of these sessions. I've been getting quite a few blank assignments and some assignments with things answered that say, I don't know. You guys know that by now, putting that in class or leaving something blank in class isn't going to fly. I am here. I'm still your teacher. I'm here to help you. I don't know if you need help though, unless you reach out to me, right? We have this barrier of remote learning. So you need to take some advantage of the resources that I'm laying out for you, okay? So I have linked in those Google Meet sessions. Please, the last thing I want you guys is for you to sit there at home confused, discouraged about not turning something in or not understanding something, okay? Remember, my job here is to help you be successful. So please use those Google Meet sessions, just drop in. Most of the time, I can answer your question in 5 minutes or less. Okay, so it's not a huge time commitment. So please keep those in mind. Okay, so let's take a look at Monday. You'll probably really like Monday. I'm giving you guys a little bit of a break. So Monday is to simply watch this video and to complete the weekly check-in form. As you will see by now, the video has been embedded into Edpuzzle, because I want to make sure that you guys are going through the video, answering a couple questions about the expectations for the week, just so that I know you've seen what I'm talking about, just to clear up any confusion. And like I said, make sure that all expectations are clear. So this video and the weekly check-in form that you will get at the very end of the video are all that you have to do this week, or sorry, not this week, on Monday. So Monday's kind of an easy day. Okay. Now, Tuesday and Wednesday, we are going to take a look at the conflict that has resulted from the creation of Israel starting in the 1940s after World War II. So that is called the Arab-Israeli conflict. And I've split this into two parts. So on Tuesday, you are going to be doing part one, and this is a breakdown of the conflict itself. So what is the conflict? Who's involved? What are the events? Basically just giving me the bare bones, the outline of this conflict that is still in 2020 unresolved. Okay, so what you see for your assignment is a Google slide presentation, and this is not just something to watch. This is actually something that you will be typing on and manipulating and working on this for this lesson this week. So when you click this, it will open up a slideshow, and you should not need to make a copy. Okay, it will make a copy for you in Google Classroom. It will look like this. My computer is slow. Okay, let me move this up here. It's thinking. Okay, so the thing that you are not going to do is hit the present button. Okay, so let me move this again. You are not going to hit this present button, because if you hit this present button, it is not going to let you type on the document, which is what you need to do to complete the assignment. Okay, so you need to leave it like this and go through the slides like this in order to complete not only this assignment, but also the assignment for Wednesday. Okay. So the first thing that you will notice, this is the title slide. The second slide is a background slide. So it's still loading, guys. I'm sorry. It's really thinking here. Okay, so the background slide, there is nothing that you need to do on this except read it. You do need to read this because you haven't seen this stuff since Friday. And I know some of you did the notes earlier than Friday. Some of you didn't maybe do them. It's been a minute since you've seen these words. And really, this is giving you some context into the conflict that you are going to look at in the rest of the slides and the slideshow tomorrow. Okay, so some background and then some key terms that you will see pop up throughout the rest of the activity. Okay, so like I said, part one is the conflict itself, giving you an overview of what happened in the conflict. So the very first thing that you're going to actually do is on slide 4 once you've read the background. Okay, the first thing is to get a sense of the geography of the actual Middle East and where the Arab-Israeli conflict is taking place. So I am going to have you guys do a little bit of geography, and what you are going to do is simply pull up a map of this region through the internet. So Google, right, map of Palestine, for example. Okay, and it will pop up and you'll be able to find these areas. So you're going to find 4 different areas for me and drag and drop the appropriate shape to where they are on this map. Okay, so Google where Israel is. Okay, when you find it, you should be able to click the star, right? Because it says drag the star to Israel here, right? It says or you will click the star and then drag it to wherever Israel may be. Hint, it's not here in this gray spot. Okay, I'm going to actually make you look for it. So that is what you will do on this slide. So you'll find where Israel is, you'll find where the West Bank is, and you'll drag the diamond here. You'll find the city of Jerusalem, and you'll drag the sun, and you'll find the Gaza Strip, and you'll drag this arrow. Hint, the arrow is pointed at the Gaza Strip. So that might be helpful for you as you were looking for it on the map. Okay, so first things first, identifying those key places where the event is actually taking place, dragging and dropping the labels or the shapes onto the area on the map here. Okay, pretty straightforward. The next thing or task that you have is to take a look at the events or significant events. There have been many, many, many more than this, but the events of the Arab-Israeli conflict as they happen in order. So in this table here, you will notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 key events. They are out of order. Okay, so your job is going to be to watch this video here and put these events in order. Okay, and to do that, you will click these numbers and drag them to the appropriate box. So let's say, for example, this event, as I'm watching the video, I realize that this event is actually the first event that happens. It's not. So don't put that. I would drag the number 1 there. Okay. So the key to success on this, ladies and gents, is to re-watch the video if you need to. Go back, pause, rewind. You can play it multiple times. It's really not that long of a video. Okay. My tip for success is to read through the events first, so that way you know what you're looking for. Okay, and as you hear them in the video, you can then drag the appropriate number. Okay, so you're just creating a timeline for this specific activity. Okay, finally, you have 3 short reflection questions to answer about the conflict. So number 1, how did the end of World War II and the Holocaust lead to the creation of Israel? You will get this information from not only the video on slide 5, but also the notes from last week. How is this conflict about religion? And how is this conflict about nationalism? So you can type your answers in this box here. It will let you type in directly into that text box. Okay, so that is all you have to do for Tuesday. So I'm going to close out of here and go back to Google Classroom. And Wednesday then is a continuation of the Arab-Israeli conflict, but instead of looking at the events, we are going to be taking a look at the impact that the conflict has had. While this is loading, one thing I do want to point out and remind you guys is to please make sure that you are turning in the work in Google Classroom. Make sure to hit that turn in button when you are finished, so that way your answers get recorded. Okay. So let's see if this guy is loading. Yep, there we go, or it's starting to. So just like the last presentation, guys, you are not going to click the present button because you will not be able to type on this document, which you will need to do, okay? So make sure that you are keeping it in this view here. So, like I said, today or Wednesday, you will be looking at the impacts of the Arab-Israeli conflict on both the Arab Muslims and the Israeli Jews that live in this area. So the first thing that you guys are going to be doing is practicing some mapping skills. Just as a hint, ladies and gentlemen, you will see this map again. So if you are stuck on this map, make sure to reach out during those office hours, okay? So you will use this map to answer the 2 questions that you see on the slide, and you will type directly into these boxes here. So using your map and your knowledge of the Arab-Israeli conflict, how has the territory changed hands? Meaning, how has it changed? How is it different? From 1946 to relatively present day. I know 2016 isn't super present, but we don't have as much data now as we do for past years, okay? And then your second question is, why do both of these groups want this land, okay? Make sure to use your key. That will help you for the mapping skills. The next 2 slides are videos, and you will be taking notes and answering questions on the videos. So this video on slide 3 is talking about Israeli settlements, specifically in the West Bank, which you had looked at the day before on the map, and you will take notes as you watch this video. And you should try to get between 5 and 10 bullet points to earn full credit on this section, okay? The second video that you are going to watch deals with the perspectives of occupation in the West Bank. Okay, kind of builds on the video that you watched in the previous slide. So I suggest watching the video through, looking at the questions but not answering them first. Then go back and rewatch it, and as you rewatch the video, answer the questions. So you're going to be answering how the Palestinians and the Israelis view the occupation of the West Bank differently. So what is the Palestinians' perspective of the Israelis being in the West Bank? What is life like for them? What do they think about this? Same thing with the Israelis. Okay. And then your second question is, what are living conditions like for the Palestinians and Israelis in the West Bank? So you're going to describe some things that you see in that video. Okay. And then your final reflection question is to reflect on how the Arab-Israeli conflict has impacted the lives of the people in the Middle East. And you can take this a number of ways. You can say that it is positive. You can say that it's negative. You can list ways that it has impacted them. But no matter how you approach this, you need to explain using 2 pieces of evidence from the videos to support your answer. Okay, so I will be looking in your typed answer in this box here for your evidence to support your answer as to whether or not the Arab-Israeli conflict has positively or negatively impacted the lives of the people of the Middle East. Okay, your evidence should really be how it has impacted. Okay, and then of course, when you are finished, you will hit that turn in button in Google Classroom. Okay. Thursday, we are going to be starting our look at some of the big events and key players that are still currently being talked about in the Middle East. So one thing that I brought up in our notes last week was we are really involved in the Middle East. The United States and a lot of other European countries take note of the events that are happening in the Middle East. And the reason for that largely is oil. We are very, very dependent in some ways on the Middle East for oil. And if you've ever heard of an organization called OPEC, OPEC is what is regulating oil and prices of oil from the Middle East to the United States. Okay, so we are going to be taking a look at how the Middle East, or why the Middle East is of global importance based on OPEC. Okay, so this is a very brief 3-part assignment. All of the links that you need are in this document. So the very first is a video that is 2.5 minutes long. As you watch the video, there are 4 questions, 4.5 questions to answer here. Okay. Now, the second part is to click on this link to look at data about oil, OPEC, and the United States. And it is an infographic. Okay. So as you go to this link, it will take you to another resource that you will use to analyze and answer these 3 questions. Okay. So it'll take you to a separate document. And then I did put this on here just as a nice reminder. Make sure to scroll down and complete part 3, the final analysis. So this is going to be basically a political cartoon interpretation. What is the message of the cartoon? Why is the Middle East and OPEC so important to the United States? How does it impact us? And then there is a hypothesis question. Okay, again, when you're finished, you'll turn this into Google Classroom. Okay. The final assignment for week 4 is going to be our look on probably something that you guys are familiar with, which is the war on terror. We get involved in this war on terror once 9/11 happens on September 11th, 2001. The war on terror is declared by then President George W. Bush. And it gets us involved in a couple of different conflicts in the Middle East, specifically the war in Afghanistan, which is still happening. It's still going on. We still have troops actively deployed in Afghanistan, and the war in Iraq, which is over, or was over about 8 years ago now. And we'll be taking a look at Iraq next week. So today, or not today, sorry, I'm used to saying that, Friday, I'm going to have you guys do a little bit of an investigation on the war in Afghanistan, taking a look at the history of that conflict. So there is an article here that you guys will read and take a look at. And then as you're reading, there is a exit slip quiz to take as you're reading that includes multiple choice questions about the text. So as you're reading, I suggest looking at the question first, going back to the document, and then finding the answer. Okay. Now, one of the things that I do say on the assignment itself is that this will be graded for accuracy. Okay, this little Google form is going to grade you for accuracy. So your score when you get your results is your score. Now, that being said, you may retake this quiz as many times as you would like to better your score. So if you want to take the quiz 4 times and go back to the reading to make sure you get the right answers and it takes you 4 times, that's fine. I will take your best score. Okay, so know that if you get a 2 out of 13 the first time, you can absolutely go back to the text, reread, because it won't give you the answers when you submit the form. You guys know me better than that. You have to go back to the text and then re-answer the questions to submit. Okay, and then when you're finished, you'll hit that turn in button and you are done for the week. Okay, so please, guys, reach out if you are stuck on anything, if you have any questions about what is expected for week 4. I will say that I'm very, very proud of you guys in terms of how you are handling remote learning. I miss you guys. I miss seeing you in class. It's definitely been hard chatting through a screen with some of you, but some of you have come on and just dropped in to say hey. So like I said, please reach out during office hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, 1 to 2. And I hope you guys have a happy and healthy week. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.